is the eye of a tiger. And the reason why the eye of a tiger is, I think it's because of perseverance that you have to have in the payments industry. You have to stick it out. And yeah, it's just what that one specific song that actually just comes up in my head is definitely Eye of a Tiger, I would say. The payment landscape has actually changed so much, and it's actually evolved so much that it's no longer just doing a normal payment and that's it. There is a whole lot of skill sets involved to actually do a frictionless end-to-end payment. And that types of skills is really required in the sense of, I would say, from a cybersecurity perspective, from an analytical perspective, from a regulation perspective, people that understand the regulation around it. You need technical expertise, because we're looking at instantaneous payments. The platform and the landscape of technology is changing around payments. So yeah, it's actually extremely exciting with the way that payments are going. It's actually opening up a whole new world out there for different skill sets to actually join it. So it's not just you need to understand what a payment is, it's everything around that makes this payment secure, and it's a number of people in the chain that actually brings the value. So yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I think it's a whole new world opening up for different people and different skill sets. I would like to think that we bring this value add, the standard and the security for an end user, not just in South Africa, but in South Africa in particular, but not just in South Africa, globally, that we bring this value to the end user so that they know that when they're expecting money, that they will get the money, they will get it on time, and that there will be no interruptions, no friction. So I really believe that we bring this value that, look, things are changing, eh? The end customers expect things now. I mean, you and me, we're the same. If you order something, you want it today. You don't want to wait anymore. That's no longer good enough. And I do believe that we bring this value add to our end customer. Well, without fail, I play with my 2 Yorkies. I take my 2 Yorkies for a walk and I play with them. It's the best stress reliever, I can tell you. They make me forget about everything and all the stresses of the day. So, you know, without fail, my 2 baby furries, I spend a lot of time with them. Is that I'm actually a farm girl. I was born in the Eastern Transvaal and I grew up on a farm. So we moved to the city, and I always often wonder what would have happened if we stayed on the farm, but we moved to the city and I ended up in the role that I am. So yeah, I'm actually a farm girl. Yeah, that is an interesting one. I think we all as kids have, when you're small, you know, you dream of becoming a doctor or a lawyer, or, you know, me, I wanted to be a minister in church. That is actually what I wanted to do, but things didn't work out the way that it, you know, that you'd always, you know, that you dream of. It doesn't normally work out. So that's how I ended up in the financial world. I started to work for a bank, and that's just how my career took off. But yeah, when I was small, I never thought that I would be in the financial industry, to be honest. So to try and keep it as simple as possible, what we do is we actually provide the plumbing for the banks to be able to talk to one another. And in this plumbing network, we make sure that this plumbing is secure, that when we do send payments from one point to the next, that it doesn't get lost, or it doesn't something happen to the payment. We also make sure that there's a standard to the payment. So when somebody sends one message from one bank to another bank, that the other bank knows exactly what it is, what they're getting, and they understand what the instruction is. We also provide additional services to these payments to make sure that these payments actually arrive fast, instantaneously to the end point, and also in a secure and in a safe environment. So we really try to make sure that when you send money, the person on the other side receives the money. So I joined the bank fresh out of school. I joined the bank and I literally started at the bottom. I started at the bottom, and I worked my way up. And what happened is I ended up in the Swift department, and then I realized, but hang on, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but I was more interested in the testing side of things and the business analysis side of things. So I started to go for training and for courses, and I really started to get more involved in the testing and business analysis side of things. And I think that kind of opened the door, and then I started to understand more around the world of payments and how Swift fits into the picture. So yeah, it was a long road, because I really started from the bottom, but I'm glad I did, because that gave me the opportunity to get to know the different facets of within the bank and also in the payments environment. And from a technical side of things, because I started to do the testing, I was also exposed to the technical side of things and the technical infrastructure, which is a key element to the Swift world. And for that, I'm forever grateful that I actually did take that route. So yeah, I think it found me. I don't think I found it. I think it's kind of the other way around. But yeah, so that was kind of my history. I really started slowly. I started small, and I worked myself up. And yeah, it was long hours. It's still long hours, but yeah, if you put in the hours, it really pays off. I had the privilege of sharing to the students what is Swift, where Swift started, why was Swift created, and the roadmap that Swift actually followed from 1973, when it was actually created by 23 banks that actually got together to say that we need to actually have this cooperative that can actually provide the secure messaging in a standardized way. So this was basically the journey that I took the students on, and I actually also showed them when I opened up the presentation. I had a telex machine to say, this is what correspondent banking looked like in the 60s and the 70s. Was an old telex machine, basically. And I'm extremely passionate about the story of Swift and where we are today, and what our core function is. And our core function really is to provide that security and that standard. And that was basically, in a nutshell, what I presented to the students. You never stop learning. You never stop learning. You never stop growing. And also, like I said, when I spoke about the different skill sets that you need or that's required, we ourselves, it's not that we're the experts in it, but we also have to learn about these different facets that payments go through. And like I said, as things changes, we also have to upskill ourselves. And I think that's the nice thing about it, is you don't get bored. There's not 1 minute that you actually get bored, because things change and there are more and more value added services that come into the chain. I think the one big thing is like data, for instance, and the migration to ISO 20022. And with this migration, the banks and the consumer will end up with a lot more data, for instance. But now it's the thing of, what do I do with all this data? I didn't realize that I had all this data. Now that I have all this data, what do I do with all this data? So this is just an example of opportunities or things that's new. It's new to all of us, and had that, and what we can learn out of it. So never a dull moment, that's for sure. And that is what I enjoy. I keep on learning.